Holy schlemoly, is that you in the attic again? I thought so. Sorry for keeping you waiting. Always nice to see you up here in the Mask fan attic. Oh, there it is right there. There's what I need right there. Yummy. Gasoline flavor. Where was I? Oh yes! This week's Mask here at the Mask fan attic is another golden oldie. Moldy oldie. Golden oldie, moldy oldie, goldie. Hang on, it's right here, see? None other than one of the most famous and influential characters in the history of horror and monsterdom. None other than Dracula himself. This particular Dracula, sculpted by the legendary William Malone, the same Bill Malone who created the Sinjanor and the Thanatoid and a number of other cool monsters, and used to sculpt a lot of great stuff for Don Post Studios back in the day. Yeah, and in the night as well, I guess. You gotta be careful with Dracula, you know what I'm saying? Lots of great masks, and in later years directed some fine movies like Parasomnia and the House on Haunted Hill remake from 2000. That was the year, yeah. Anyway, Bill Malone sculpted the amazing Dracula here, which was really unique and well, sort of a trendsetter, because you see, up until this time, even though Dracula was one of the most famous and popular monster characters and had always been a popular subject for Halloween masks, most Dracula masks prior to this had the general look of the features of Bela Lugosi, the actor who played Dracula on the screen back in the 1930s and 40s, and really is, to this very day, he's the definitive, iconic Dracula. He's the seminal one. He's the one that made the country and the world realize that that was what Dracula should look like. And everybody still thinks of Bela Lugosi first when they're doing a Dracula character. But this particular mask, first introduced in the 1976 season, was unique in that it adapted the features of Christopher Lee. The same Christopher Lee who appeared as Count Dooku in the Star Wars prequels and who appeared as Saruman the Wizard in the first couple of Lord of the Rings movies. Well, Christopher Lee, one of my favorite actors, by the way. He was one of the guys, like Lugosi, actually both of them, were guys who, well, if they had a movie on late at night, I would have to stay up late and watch it, no matter what movie it was. And anyway, Christopher Lee played Dracula in a series of English Dracula movies, beginning with a great movie. If you haven't seen it, you really need to, from 1958, Horror of Dracula, which may be my favorite Dracula movie of all time. It just may be. Other Dracula movies in the series included Dracula, Prince of Darkness, Taste the Blood of Dracula, Dracula Has Risen from the Grave, Scars of Dracula, and others. And Christopher Lee even played Dracula in a couple of comedy spoofs, like Dracula and Son from 1976, I think. And Uncle Was a Vampire is another one. There really is a movie by that title. Uncle Was a Vampire, also known under the title Hard Times for Vampires. It's true. Now, this Dracula mask was, as I mentioned before, initially introduced in 1976 and was available from 76 through 79, right in there. And a beautiful mask, usually made in black latex and then sponge painted or stipple painted. A couple of different color schemes. A lot of them were just a normal light flesh tone, but I think even more than that, I think the majority of them were sort of a purple color. The one I had back in the day was purple. It was a grayish purple, but if you had to nail it down to just one color, you would have to say, yeah, he's more purple than gray. He's purple. And the purple ones had eyes that were just solid red, just like a red ball. No bloodshot lines or anything, just red eyes, and then a round pupil cut out in the center of each eye. This particular one doesn't look like that because it has been custom painted by none other than Rob and Kathy Tharp, a couple of very cool folks who worked for Don Post for a combined total of about 700,000 years, if I'm not mistaken. So this is their take on the paint job. It's close. It's similar to the Don Post standard version, but the eyes are a little more little more detailed here, because these eyes have the bloodshot and the detailing going on. And as I have divulged previously, the Downpost standard production ones just had red eyes. Now, after 1979, when this guy was discontinued, he was reissued again, just like Dracula. He keeps coming back. They keep trying to kill him, but he keeps coming back. He came back again in the mid-80s, I believe 83 through 86, and this time it was called simply Vampire instead of Dracula. Now, the vampire version looked pretty much like this, except it seemed to me it was slightly larger. It may have been resized a little, because I don't know if you can tell, this is kind of a small mask. People might have had, some people might have complained about it being too small, and people might have had trouble wearing it, but the vampire one looked a little bit bigger, and he was more blue this time. His general skin tone was blue, and his eyes were white with a little bit of pink around the corners and the edges there for a slightly bloodshot look. Other than that, the same. Still had the black hair with some white streaks along the hairline, and still had the black eyebrows, of course. And one interesting thing about this particular mask is that it always had this blood on the mouth, except for the copies which were made to be sold at the Disney theme park magic shops. Now, back in those days, Disneyland and Disney World both had these wonderful scary magic shops, and boy, I loved those when I was a young whatever I was. I loved those, and the magic shops there sold. There was a Main Street magic shop, and there was Merlin's magic shop, and the Disney park magic shops did not want blood on theirs. So if you see an old one that is bloodless, chances are it was made for the Disney parks to sell, and that's why it wouldn't have blood on there. But in the catalog they have blood, and generally they had the blood. Okay, and then, like I said, you can't keep a good vampire down. Even the 1983 through 86 version wasn't the end of the line for this bad boy. He came back again as part of the Downpost Retro series, introduced in the early uh-ohs. Now, the Retro series started in 2000. We'll just have another drink of the gasoline here. Bear with me. Could use more turpentine. Anyway, the Retro line started in 2000, and in 2001, this mask was added to it, and it was a third release. Now, this time, the name went from Vampire back to Dracula, and the paint scheme again was either kind of a purplish or a fleshy, somewhere in there, color, and the eyes were red again. But I wasn't as happy with the Retro version. It looks just the same, but the latex quality wasn't there, and they were much thinner castings, so they weren't really as nice as the originals. As is often the case with most masks, the original version is the best, and in this case, yeah, the version from the 70s was the coolest. Now, you can still find these here and there from time to time, and well, if you do find one, buy it and take it home and put it in your attic to frighten any potential burglars, because it's an awesome mask. And it's 700 degrees up here tonight, so you know, tomorrow in the Mask Fan Attic, tune in again where Dr. Lady will be collapsing live on camera from a heat stroke for your viewing pleasure.